Please come.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Aayushi. Please sit down.
Thank you, sir.
So, Aayushi, shall we start?
Yes, sir.
So, give a brief introduction about yourself.
Good afternoon.
I am from Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh. I completed my 10th standard from there. After that, I completed my 12th standard from Delhi Public School, RK Puram. Post that, I went to IIT Kanpur, where I graduated as an electrical engineer and also the director gold medalist for being the best all-rounder of my batch. In my work experience, I did an internship at Goldman Sachs and I did a permanent job at McKinsey as a consultant, where I worked for around 10 months and I got the opportunity to work in 3 industries: banking, mining and port sector. So after that, I resigned from my job and started preparing for the civil services exam, and this is overall my first.
So, Aayushi, your experience in Goldman Sachs. So, what had happened in the 2008 recession, global recession? What was Goldman Sachs' role?
Sir, in 2008 subprime crisis, it was around the securitization of the mortgage-based loans. Earlier to that, banks in US especially, sir, were giving loans to subprime borrowers at very low interest rates and without
Following the due diligence
Okay,
process.
so the fall of banks, the recent with Silicon Valley Bank and Signature and other banks.
Yes.
What is similarity or difference between that collapse and this collapse?
So the similarities are the faulty assumptions and the lack of robust regulations, sir. Sir, earlier the assumption was that mortgages on the houses will never go down and the loans are secure, which was not true. And in the case of, sir, Silicon Valley Bank, the assumption was that US Treasury bonds are foolproof and they are a very good method for hedging their portfolio, which was again not true, sir. So the difference is how the crisis precipitated and very specific reasons for it. In the current crisis, sir, it was based in Silicon Valley case, sir, because they hold to maturity bonds, which after US Fed increased rates, lost a lot of their value. And post that, Silicon Valley ultimately collapsed after a bank run. But in case of the 2008 crisis, it was due to.
So, has the increased rate of interest by US Federal Bank anything to do with this collapse, the one which happened recently?
Yes, sir. It is.
So that was so. India's rate of interest is also going higher and higher. Now it has been paused, and FM has also warned and cautioned the banks, Indian banks. So you think that high rate of interest could be detrimental to Indian banks also?
Sir, with respect to Indian banks, there are 2 things. If I have to directly compare, sir, I don't think that we have a similar situation because one, our interest rates have not been rising at the same pace as US. It's not as steep, it has reached the pre-pandemic level almost. And sir, we have many regulations in place by the Reserve Bank of India. For example, sir, we have cash reserve ratio, which mandates banks to keep a certain.
Good. Aayushi, your sociology is your subject of option. So my statement is that judiciary is making an overreach on the issue of institution of marriage in India. How far do you agree, and you think that all these the controversial issues which have come up, judiciary has played a role in making these changes? So you think they are the right that is the right agency to bring all these reforms?
Sir, we can view this in multiple ways, sir. So if I have to talk about if it's the right agency, sir, the ideal situation for societal changes is for those changes to come from within the society itself, sir. Then those changes are very long lasting and affect everyone, sir. However, sir, I also believe that law can act as an instrument of social change, sir. In the past, Honorable Supreme Court has taken multiple decisions which have helped our society to progress.
The decision.
Okay, no example, but Aayushi, on your last point,
Yes.
Law brings social change. There is no doubt about it. But law is basically brought by the parliament, not by judiciary. So what is your view?
Yes, sir, that would have been a better option, sir, if our parliament would have progressed with these laws, sir, because in Parliament, on one hand,
We have wider debate in
Okay, we have been seeing politics and crime. We saw what happened in UP.
Yes.
So, tell me, how do we make the such criminal people getting into? How do we prevent them to get into the electoral fray and get elected? How can we debar them?
Sir, we have to focus on again multiple fronts, sir. Sir, the money and muscle power is one thing we have to first control. For the money front, government has already brought electoral bonds. We need more transparency measures so that criminals cannot use illegally earned money.
Sir, on the muscle
No,
part,
I think you are on a different track. The criminals who have already got cases against them, they are contesting.
Sir, they do contest, but the problem is when they win also the elections, sir. Sir, one problem is with the electorate itself, sir. How do we choose the people who represent us also matters. If there
sensitization
Okay.
and awareness of people.
All right. Thank you, Aayushi.
Thank you, sir.
So, Aayushi, you are interested in watching Hindi cinema on social issues. Can you name few such movies?
Sir, a few of my favorite movies, sir. One is Bad Man. It talks about the issue of menstruation, sir, which is a taboo in our society but remains very, very important for women, sir. And also about the perseverance of the man, sir. And sir, I also like Tare Zameen Par. Sir, I like the issues of children are very close to my heart, sir. So it talks about dyslexia, sir. So I like these.
So, do you think the portrayal of that particular sickness or condition that is in a good way, or do you think it has been portrayed in a bad manner in Tare Zameen Par?
Sir, in case of theatre or any art, the most important part is that it reaches the hearts of the people, sir. And in that film, sir, they have been very much able to do that. And on the other front, sir, it's also important to show factually correct things, which they also did, sir, in terms of dyslexia, how it affects the mental health of the child, sir. And even the parents themselves are not able to diagnose the dyslexia.
And if you take further older movies, there was a movie called Sujata. Do you remember?
Sorry, sir. I haven't watched.
Another movie called Par. No, I see. So on the Dalit issues, any movie if you remember?
Back, sir. Sir, it talked about intersectionality of gender and caste, sir. Lower caste women were raped in that movie, sir. So it talked about how the intersection affects the most vulnerable population.
Okay. This same-sex marriage, do you think, is it not attacking on the institution of marriage as you have read in the books of sociology?
Sir, as a student of sociology, I understand, sir, marriage is a very diverse and a complex subject, especially in our society, sir. If I have to see same-sex union, sir, I personally support it because, sir, I believe that marriage, though a social institution guided by religious guidelines, there is also a lot about companionship and the legal rights which are associated with it, sir. And it is well within the rights of the LGBT community, sir, to have same rights as other populations, sir. And in various studies, it has also shown that it improves their mental health as
Suppose some person with a good amount of money comes to you and asks that, you see, everybody is going for electrical vehicle. And please advise me, should I also purchase electric vehicle? So, how will you go about advising the person? Money is not an issue. Everybody knows electric vehicle is costly.
Sir, I would first remind the person of their responsibility, sir. Their responsibility towards the climate. Electric vehicles, sir, in multiple studies, and Niti Aayog has also said that Even if we compare it to conventional fossil fuel generated electricity, sir, then also overall its carbon footprint is lesser than conventional vehicles. And going forward, we are going to use more and more renewable energy, so its carbon footprint is going to further decrease. So that is very.
But will that make any impression on such a person?
Sir, it will definitely, sir.
Okay. What more?
Sir, then I would also go about debunking the myths which are associated with electrical vehicles, sir. It is said that there is lack of charging infrastructure. So, but sir, charging infrastructure is increasing, and there are also guidelines to be improved in certain areas, sir.
Okay, charging. Next.
Sir,
Cost is not an issue, but I would still raise it that as compared to normal conventional vehicles, there is a breaking point. So over the long term, electric vehicles do cost lesser because petrol, as compared to the cost of petrol as well, sir. Sir, another issue which.
Any cons?
Sir, it depends on the usage of the person, sir. If the person has to go for long range mobility, sir, then electric vehicles have slight challenges there as well because their range is limited, sir. But sir,
going forward,
As of now, what is the range?
sir, it depends on which kind of vehicle it is. For cars, I think it's close to 200-300 kilometers, sir. And for sir, two-wheelers, it's, sir, as far as I remember, 50-60 kilometers.
Thank you, Aayushi.
thank you, sir.
So, Aayushi, you have worked in McKinsey and Goldman Sachs. Out of your experience, suggest areas from where government should come out, where it has no business to be there, under its scheme of minimum government, maximum government.
Sir, I believe I can proceed with this in a different way, sir. We can say that the areas in which government should stay, and apart from that, government should try to come out of the other sectors. Sir, the strategic sectors which are too important to fail, sir, for example, national defense and security, atomic energy, banks, financial markets, and so on, sir, their government presence is of utmost importance. And in the remaining sectors, sir, slowly government should try to come out of those. Sir, because on one hand it is important for prudent business. On the other hand, sir, it is also important that government's focus is on the social sector and the governance front where we are needed.
So, you didn't mention railway as a sector. So, you think government should come out of the railways?
Not 100%, sir. We can have private trains, we can monetize the land associated with railways, but sir, railways as a mode of transport has been largely used by a poor population, sir, which has very low rate of tickets for their mobility, sir. So if government comes out, there is a chance that the ticket prices will increase, sir. So I believe, sir, to some extent government's presence should be there.
And what about telecom sector? That also you did not mention. So, government should remain in telecom sector?
Sir, for telecom, we have two reasons to remain, sir. Sir, communications is a strategic sector, sir, and government should have control over it. And secondly, sir, again with telecom, usually private sector firms do not reach out to the remote areas because they are not as profitable for them and not as viable. But sir, the BSNL has reached out to different remote areas and still continues to operate in those areas, sir. So it is important for government to remain there, sir.
All right, Aayushi, coming to street plays, who is known as father of street plays? And what is your favorite social topic on which you would like to have a street play?
Sir, India.
Father of street plays, Mr. Safdar Hashmi. He is known for that, sir. And if I have to choose an issue, sir, I would choose the issues of children, child labor, child poverty, sir, and how we can bring in more and more realization of child rights, sir, their education system, how certain children are victim of abuse and are unable to talk to their parents or talk to the society, sir. So I would focus.
Aayushi, women in the rural areas are afraid of going to police station.
Yes.
For many reasons, for communication, for the very fact that police image somehow they have not yet reconciled that it's a friendly police. So what few things would you do to remove this fear from women in the rural areas so that they are able to approach police station without fear in case of any issue pertaining to women. Got my question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, I believe that for any kind of citizen empowerment, most important step is, sir, the realization of rights which happens with people, sir. Currently, I've observed, sir, when citizens approach the state institutions, they feel that they are just a beneficiary. But, sir, I believe they should have the realization that they are accessing as their rights, sir. So, sir, I would try to bring in that awareness as my first step, sir. Sir, on the police front, sir, I would want to have more women officers, which would help them to increase accessibility and reachability, sir. Second, sir, would be to improve the image of the police itself, sir. It should not come out as a force, but as a service in the minds of the people, sir. So, sir, these steps can help to increase the accessibility for women and rural.
Ayushi, one quick question on ethanol.
Yes.
Government has come out with ethanol 20.
Yes.
Why not 30? Why not 100? Like some of the countries have done it. And what happens to the engine? Do we need to change the engine also?
Sir, as much as I understand, the probable reason could be one reason could be food security, sir. Sir, ethanol is manufactured using sugar and sugarcane. If we mandate a very high target of 100 or even 80, sir, then it can hamper our food security and the production of sugar in the country, sir. On technical fronts, on the engine part, it is said that it is corrosive. So we need better lining in the engine to protect it from corrosion, sir. And sir, there's some engine modifications are also required based on the blending mixture.
Okay, one last quick question. As Secretary Tourism, how will you promote street food of India?
Sir, I would first focus on the marketing aspect, sir. So, for example, in Kerala, the tagline "God's own country" has helped them a lot. So, sir, I would bring such creative taglines and marketing schemes for our food, sir. And I would also bank on the diversity of food in India, sir, on different streets, ranging from east to west and north to south, sir. So that would be one. I would engage with people who are very famous from all over the world, especially the chefs and the celebrities, so they can popularize our food in the world, sir. Then I would also open authentic centers of street food by the government, sir, so that people are not worried about their health and safety, sir, and as well at the same time can taste the original food of a particular place.
Good. Thank you. Over to you.
Aayushi, what is insider trading?
Sir, insider trading refers to when a person within the corporation has access to knowledge which is deemed confidential and uses that information for his or her personal benefit. For example, a knowledge about a merger utilized to trade in the stock market and gain benefits from it.
What is anti-competitive agreement?
Sorry, sir.
Anti-competitive agreement.
Sir, anti-competitive agreement talks about preventing monopolies from happening in market and preventing anti-competitive practices and
What is abuse of dominant position?
Sir, it happens when a person in an authoritative position utilizes
Abuse of dominant position vis-a-vis the Competition Act, in the context of Competition Commission Act.
Sir, it happens when there is a single or maybe two players who have very large presence. Sir, for example, big techs. And sir, if they utilize that dominant position to distort the market.
And engage in
What is the problem Google is having with CCI?
Sir, Competition Commission has said that Google engages in anti-competitive practices on its Android platform, where it doesn't allow third-party users to utilize other app stores for installing their applications.
So, what is the role of independent directors in Companies Act?
Sir, independent directors do not have linkage with the other directors or the management, so they act as an oversight mechanism and ensure that there are no faulty practices and unethical and illegal practices happening in the companies.
Has failed or it has brought some positive results?
Sir, it is both ways. Sir, in terms of positive results, it has brought more and more companies into the fold of social responsibility, sir. For example, sir, Infosys Foundation works a lot on this front, so it is positive there. However, sir, in terms of negative aspects, it is seen that CSR funding has been limited to certain sectors and is designed on the ideas and the vision of the leader of the corporation, not on the needs of the people. Sir.
What is the meaning of the term haircut in IBC?
Sir, under IBC, whenever there is a loan resolution and the amount that is deducted from what the ideal amount that should have been resolved, that discount is called haircut.
What is the distinction between equity, debenture, and bond?
Sir, equity refers to ownership, a share of ownership in a corporation, in a firm or a company, sir. Sir, bond is a debt instrument, and sir, debenture. Sorry, sir, I'm unable to recall. Thank you, sir.
Ayushi, let us discuss a situation. You are a district magistrate in, say, Madhya Pradesh, in some district. Now, there is a very high urgency of constructing a road to a tribal village. You know, the proposal has been sent to you. People have come to meet you and all those things, and you also feel a very urgent need to make a road to the tribal village. Now, the problem is that that road passes through certain forest areas, having wild animals and all that. It passes through forest areas. Now, what type of action will you take in this regard? Because road is quite urgent. You yourself think that it is a quite urgent road for the development of the tribal village. What you will do?
Sir, I just want to clarify, are there tribals in those forests?
It's a tribal village, people residing there. They don't have a road, they don't have a good communication to the town. So they want a road there. But unfortunately, some portion of that road passes through forest area.
Sir, in this scenario, there is a contestation between environment and the development of the people, sir. So, sir, I would try to reconcile and balance these two aspects. Sir, I would go ahead with building of the road, so because it is very much necessary for their development, health, and education, sir. On the forest part, sir, there is environmental impact assessment. Though that road is on a very small scale, so the assessment would be very small level. And whatever forest or whatever deforestation happens there, so we can have compensatory afforestation in the nearby areas.
Ayushi, can you tell me what are certain important issues or rather threats you can say which our villages, say in Madhya Pradesh, they face nowadays, and if we don't tackle those issues, our Panchayati Raj system will get eroded. You understand? Our Panchayati Raj system, it will get eroded, it will lose its significance if we don't tackle few important problems which our villages face. Now, in Madhya Pradesh, what could be some important things as an administrator you would like to tackle in villages so that institutions remain strong?
Sir, Panchayati Raj institutions are a form of local government which have also empowered the communities, sir. Sir, one threat is about the Sarpanchpati system which exists, sir. Sir, another threat would be the parallel bodies which are not allowing village functionaries to process. Sir, it is said that the CEO of Zilla Panchayat has much more power as compared to the village Pradhan, sir, who is elected representative. So, sir, I believe there should be more devolution of power and funds and functionaries to rural institutions as well, sir.
But the intellectual capability of the CEO is considered far superior than the intellectual capacity of that Pradhan.
Sir, I believe for the development of the people, representation and understanding is more important than any kind of intellectual capability. And sir, even on intellectual capability, I believe village pradhan is equally capable, sir. They have different kinds of intelligence, but equally.
My last question, Ayushi, is about this religious or other type of processions, on the streets, disturbing traffic and all that. Recently, there were some problems also, pathrao and all these things, religious processions. Don't you think that they are, because they simply just wastage of time? You should not allow, this should be banned actually, what I want to say. This should be banned completely. Religious process. What do you say?
Sir, I beg to differ on this, sir. Sir, our constitution allows people to freely profess their religion, sir, and religious processions are a way to do that, sir. If they are done peacefully, sir, if they are done with the intention.
But they are always a cause of enmity between two religious sects, two religious groups, always. Then what you will do suppose you are posted there as a additional district magistrate or a district, what you will do then?
Sir, I see that it does happen, but sir, it does not happen always, and it happens in certain instances, and whenever it will happen, sir, as a district magistrate, my course of action would be to first regulate it to a certain extent in a way that I will engage with all the communities of that particular area, keep them in confidence, sir, and engage in dialogue with them that it is also their responsibility to maintain peace and public order. I will also ensure that there is a proper police force, in that area so that no untoward incidences happen, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Ayushi.
Thank you, sir.
So Ayushi, what attracts you to civil service?
Sir, when I was in IIT Kanpur, I took up a number of leadership positions, sir. And sir, I was also first female student to contest for the post of president, sir. And after that, when I worked at McKinsey, I got 2 implementation projects, which I really enjoyed, sir. But sir, my interest was more towards social and governance front. So overall, these experiences told me that I should shift to civil services.
Okay, so Ayushi, we are almost finishing our interview, but in case something from your DAF has not been covered by us, so maybe I can try the last question. All are covered? All right. So thank you, Aayushi. We are through with the interview. You may wait in the waiting room for some time. We'll call you again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, may
Come, Aayushi.
I sit?
Please sit down. So, Aayushi, how do you think you have done today?
Sir, my experience was very good. I really enjoyed talking in general, sir.
But what is your own assessment about your own performance?
Sir, I think it was good.
It was good. So, Aayushi, you are a very good candidate and you have really done very well. Very bright. In all spheres, you are good. You are a treasure of knowledge. And, you are able to retrieve the knowledge and content very fast, very quick, mentally very alert. Just remember two things that also not so important, but it is easy to manage also. One is that you tend to be a little longish. That's because, of problem of plenty. You know a little more than what is required. So that is one. And secondly, you have been mentioning, you have been projecting yourself a bit too much. In the initial introduction also, something that was already mentioned, you mentioned about director gold medal, this. In the end also, I was not able to understand what are you going, which direction you are taking this, why civil services question 2. But initially you covered 3 points. I was this, and I was this, and I was this. But I enjoyed that, but I want to go into the civil service because of this. Why couldn't you come straight to the second part? Because my question was simple. What attracts you to civil service? Simple. Sir, civil service would give me this, would give me this. आपने शुरुआत में करी, मैं IIT में प्लानी थी, वो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. मैंने प्राइवेट सेक्टर में कई जगह काम किया, वो भी मुझे बहुत अच्छा था, और एक और चीज़ आपने बोला वो भी मेरे बहुत अच्छा था। लेकिन मैं इसमें ऐसे ही फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन में गोल्डमैन सैक्स में यू बिकेम टू टेक्निकल एंड टू लेंदी, राइट? यू आर ट्राइंग टू एक्सप्लेन, सो रिमूव दिस वर्ड एक्सप्लेन मत करो इंटरव्यू में, बस अपनी बात कहो, एक्सप्लेन मत करो। एक्सप्लेन करना की आवश्यकता इसलिए नहीं है कि यू हैव मेड योर पॉइंट। एक्चुअली में एक्सप्लेन, यू डोंट एक्सप्लेन टू द पैनल, you explain to yourself. Because when you are not very clear about your statement, you think, oh, I think I have not been able to do justice. Let me take an example. Don't take examples. I stopped you also. So ये थोड़ा सा रोको, इससे lengthy answers नहीं होंगे, बिल्कुल crisp करो. Something like what you did with honorable member when he asked you those fire, what do you call, fire chat questions, right? To the point, straight. If you want to think before you speak, then you can give a pause for 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds, and then you speak. Normally, one tends to go longish to search the answer, and जब तक कुछ और मैं बोल देती हूँ, फिर मैं आंसर जब तक निकल आएगा. In your case, it was not there. You knew everything very well. ठीक है? गोल्डमैन सैक्स में भी आपको ना बड़ा क्लियर बताना चाहिए कि इट वाज अ सब प्राइम दिस, इट हैपेंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस. हाउएवर द प्रेजेंट सिचुएशन इज अ लिटिल डिफरेंट. इट अरोज बिकॉज ऑफ दिस, है ना? ज़्यादा टेक्निकलिटीज में पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि पैनल का बस ये देखना चाहते हैं कि आप कितना उस कंपनी में रहते हुए जानकारी हो आपको 2008 की बातों की, और अब जो हो रहा है उससे कैसे आप रिलेट कर रही हैं. अप्लाइड पार्ट, दैट इज इम्पोर्टेंट. कुछ डिटेल चाहिए होंगी, पैनल पूछ लेगा. दैट इज इट.
So Ayushi, you are very good. Continue to maintain same pace. Interview is not very far. When is your interview? 3rd May. So occasionally you are too fast. So keep yourself conscious of that fact, that even if you know everything, doesn't mean that you get too fast for both to understand you. Because ultimately communication is complete only when the other party receives it. Your transmitting information is of no use unless there is a receiver. ठीक है ना? तो control that, otherwise you are very fine, and make it a bit crisp answers. They will make more effect. What sari you will put on?
So this one.
This, no? So this has some history, some geography.
Sir, this is Tussar silk of MP, and sir, the design is Varli print of Maharashtra, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So Aayushi, very good personality, very good communication, good knowledge, good depth, good everything. Only one question I felt you were too much in hurry to respond. Tell me which one. Maximum government, maximum governance, minimum government. So I had to intervene you 2 times, and once I did not. You mentioned of banks. So government is coming out of banks, isn't it? And it has not stopped. It must further come out. So before replying, just take a pause. You said you wanted to reply it in a different manner. So best was to think of the core sectors where government presence is required, and then base your reply that any other sector where government is present, it should come out slowly, like railways. Railway, it is moving slowly towards privatization, but not complete privatization. There is something called privatization of services and something called privatization of operations. So railway can never part with the operation part of it, because that is where life is involved, running of the train. It's only the privatization of services. So again, think about it. My only point is that this was the only question where you were in a bit of hurry and I had to intervene 2 times. Other than that, you were excellent. Your selection of street play was good. Women closer, उसमें भी तुम सोचना फिर से. Closer to police. You could have come out with this question when asked with from other candidates. They came out with some beautiful, innovative ideas. How rural women, the fear can be removed from them. So do this thinking again. Your reply was all right. I am not commenting on that. I am saying with your kind of background, one expects a more innovative reply.
Wish you all.
Thank you, sir.
All the best. You are doing very well.
I see you are a very good candidate. You are doing well. You have answered very, very well. All the best.
Anything you would like to ask Aayushi from us?
Yes, sir. Sir, in the interview, you stood up, sir. Sir, should I have?
No. Don't. Keep sitting.
So I kept answering.
Yeah, carry on. Don't be conscious about all this. It may happen there also.
Yes, sir. And sir, I talked about contesting elections. So is it okay if I talk about that? That I contested elections in IIT?
No. That's what I said. Your introduction should be very crisp and short. I am Aayushi. I am from Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh. Sir, I have done whatever your qualification, and my main hobbies are watching Hindi cinema on social issues and performing Hindi stage plays. Normally, extracurricular activity, prizes, medals, scholarships, they are not spoken in the introduction. The panel will pick up, and we did pick up. So that is like, self-imposing, please note, I am a gold medalist. So you repeat it again in the end also. इसको बिल्कुल avoid करो. Be as simple. Bureaucrats, civil servants तो behind the curtain काम करते हैं. सामने आके नहीं अपने आप को देख रहे, देखो मुझे, because they are so powerful otherwise that they don't need to project themselves. ठीक है ना? तो इसको avoid करना है.
Sir, I was asking elections.
और इलेक्शन कॉन्टेस्ट से एकदम से हो जाएगा कि भाई मेरा क्वेश्चन अगर टाइम होता ना तो मैं आपसे पहले वही पूछता कि भाई देन यू शुड हैव गॉन टू पॉलिटिक्स, और हाउ वुड यू यूज दिस थिंग इन योर, विल इट नॉट बी a change of kind of personality that you have made more for being a leader in that sense and not in the civil servant sense.
So I will take care of it.
Please take care. Huh? So Aayushi, any other question?
No, sir.
So we have given you 69% today. You have done very well. This is one of the highest that we give.
190 marks.
So is this your first interview in UPSC?
So this is my first attempt, sir.
First attempt and first. Very bright, Aayushi. I think you will pull up your marks. And if you have done your main exam well, we'll certainly see you on top of the list. Do well. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All the best.